Jonathan Watson, owner of Madden's Ultimate Team, made 43 trades in the first year. And just for context, the entire 2022 season, altogether, all teams combined to make 15 trades.
Awesome.
For comparison, the two expansion teams, you and Cody, in your 3-year existence have combined to make 31 trades.
That's actually insane.
What was it like doing deals with Johnny Watson?
He was wheeling and dealing. His team would change from week to week. Yeah, his turnover rate was high. I wouldn't have wanted to be a player on his team. Your job was never safe.
Man, Johnny, he definitely made some trades with me that I don't know if I was happy with. Did he wear me down? Absolutely. Did he wear everyone down? Absolutely. I think he's a master of his craft. That's my opinion. He's the master trader.
Johnny could be relentless. You're sitting there like, oh my gosh, I gotta lock my doors, turn off my phone so I can get a breather.
If Johnny had his eye on somebody, he was coming on the team eventually.
I feel like looking back, none of them made any sense at all because we were all still learning the league. I know at one point in time we made a trade involving like Matthew Stafford and Adrian Peterson that had like 7 pieces on both sides. So I don't know if we worked out the values, just so to make that trade happen. But ultimately it was fun and exciting nonetheless.
The most ever given up for one player. Johnny traded Adrian Peterson, RG3, Zach Mettenberger, Williams receiver on Dallas, and the second and third rounder for Matt Stafford.
Wow. Zach Mettenberger, no. RG3, no. Who are the two skill players?
T. Williams, Dallas. I remember him. I just don't remember his first name. And then Adrian Peterson. You might remember that.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Part of the biggest trade in history.
Yep. I still remember it. I do remember like where I was when I made that trade. I know I still have a couple of those pieces still on my team to this day. I think I had recently cut just another one of those guys that was still in that trade. I think T.Y. Hilton was included in that one if I'm not mistaken, and I think I just cut him a year or two ago, and I had him that entire time. I know I still got Matt Stafford and Jameis who were included in that one, so yeah, I still had a couple of huge pieces from that. I think DeMarco Murray was like also included in that one, and I think that was like the year after he went off in Dallas and then went to Philly.
I don't know what the conversations were like to get to that point. Like basically like, hey, I want to trade half of my starting lineup for half of your starting lineup. Being able to balance that whole thing out and like not split it up into different pieces was pretty tough. But that's kind of what happens when Johnny was in his trade zone. Like he could talk you into anything and make whatever happen. So
yeah, I mean, I miss trades like this. I wish we still had these big mix-ups. The interesting thing I think about this trade is that I always associated Stafford, Hilton, and Winston like with Patrick's team. Like they always, and if you had asked me, I would have totally thought that they were there from the beginning, but I didn't remember until this was brought up that this happened. Where Johnny, the guys he got, they come through and they go, and he has big names coming and going, and that's what I love about Johnny, is he's not afraid to pull the trigger on things.
Johnny sent Matt Stafford back, T.Y. Hilton, DeMarco Murray, Jameis Winston, and Brandon LaFell, plus a second-round pick in exchange for he sent it to Patrick in exchange for Matt Ryan, Golden Tate, Adrian Peterson again, Blake Bortles, Mike Wallace, Devonta Freeman, and a first and third round pick.
So what is that, 13 pieces in total? That's incredible. That's good stuff. And what commitment, to give up on Adrian Peterson just to get him back.
Do you think you say that's a win for you?
You know what? I'm going to say yes. Just in the fact that, like I already said, like a couple of those guys that were included in that trade, I do still have. And some of them were key pieces to winning a championship. And I think flags fly forever. First round pick, probably overpaid considering how much those are worth now in the league. But, sometimes it's what price you got to pay for two quarterbacks. And, let's be honest, those are two quarterbacks at the time that were top 10 fantasy guys. And I think everyone else would say I probably lost the trade, but without Stafford and all those guys, I don't think I would have won.
So you and Johnny actually made the first trade in league history. You received Jake Locker in exchange for Hakeem Nicks. Do you remember what pushed you to do that deal, pushed you to put your mark on history as the first GMs to make a trade?
All right, here's what it is. When the free agent draft ended, I said, I'm going to make a statement to the league that I'm in this thing 1,000%. And I'm going to make the first trade. Not only will I make the first trade, I'm going to dominate the first trade. So what did I do in a 2-quarterback league? What's valuable in a 2-quarterback league? Quarterback. I take Hakeem Nicks. Have you heard about Hakeem Nicks since 2014? Exactly.
One of the deals that you made was you traded Lorenzo Taliaferro
Whoa.
and the third overall pick
Whoa.
for a Sammy Watkins coming off a big rookie year. What are your thoughts on that trade for yourself?
Wow, I would never trade the third overall pick knowing what draft picks are now compared to 10 years ago. But honestly, looking at that trade now, I mean, Watkins was awfully good. Any idea who he got with that third overall pick?
Kevin White.
Oh, give me Watkins. I mean, especially at that time. But, I mean, so at the end, it looks like a good trade for me, but on paper, he definitely won that trade at the time just because of, like I said, third overall picks. My gosh, that's a lot to give up for anybody.
You had a deal where you sent late career Chris Johnson, Nick Foles, and the 5th overall pick for Martavis Bryant, Zach Mettenberger, and the 21st overall. How do you think that would look for you?
I don't think it went well for either of those, to be quite honest with you. I don't think Johnny picked anybody very good with that 5th overall pick. I think in the end it was a crappy trade on both sides. Basically, the piece that I wanted in that deal was Martavis Bryant. At the time, that guy seemed like the next big thing in Pittsburgh. But unfortunately, off the field issues and just things did not work out in Martavis Bryant's favor after that, unfortunately.
So there was an interesting string of trades that you did with Johnny in that first year. In March 22nd of 2015, you traded Robert Woods and the 28th overall pick for Roddy White. And 2 months later, you traded Dwayne Bowe away for Robert Woods. And then 2 months after that, you traded Roddy White for Dwayne Bowe. So in the end, you both ended up with the same wide receivers you had, but Johnny had a 28th overall pick for free. Do you know what was going through your mind at that time?
Yeah, that's, looking back on it, I think Johnny may have swindled me. I could have won the trades and the value I got from those players. Maybe I'll look at it that way. I'll just throw that out there. I bet I won on production of the players, and that was well worth the 28th overall.
How do you think that trade went for you? Do you think it was win one way or the other, or more kind of even?
I think it was a short-term win for me that I was just trying to shore up my quarterback depth, with Peyton Manning, knowing that he was a star, and when he was with Denver in those last couple of years, they were one of the best offenses in the league. So I was just trying to secure that, and Johnny did a good job, kind of trading him off at a high point, I guess. Since the initial beginning draft had a high amount of stud wide receivers, that was kind of my focus on drafting initially. So that's where I had started to shed a few of those off, because I wasn't playing them all the time. Getting back Frank Gore and Peyton Manning were some good dynasty pieces, even if they were kind of starting to age at that point.
Yeah, I remember that trade. Yeah, it was pretty rough trading away Mark Ingram. I didn't think the most of him at the time. I thought he's kind of small. Not sure if he's going to be able to get it done. Obviously end up regretting that, how well he did. In the end, I was able to fill the hole at running back in the end, but he would have made it a lot easier for sure. Steve Smith had a couple good years. Sammy Watkins, and this was rookie him. He was dominant in those early years. The guys I got back, some of it is poor by me. I mean, Trent Richardson, I don't think I valued him highly because this was already when he fell off. And Tavon Austin, that was a
mistake on my part. Maybe if Stan Kroenke didn't want to purposely sabotage the team, we could have been better, but that's how it goes. I think some of it is definitely bad luck. The Teddy Bridgewater injury, I don't think anyone saw coming. And Trey Mason, I mean, when I got him, he was, 700 yards rushing as a rookie. And he was looking like, hey, he's the starter in St. Louis. And then, of course, that year, St. Louis goes and drafts Todd Gurley. And Trey Mason's out of the league in a year. I think it's hard to predict. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Do you remember how that 3-team trade went down between you, Johnny, and Scott?
I don't remember exactly how it went down, but I know Johnny and I were trying to make a trade work, and then we were like, all right, who can we sucker into getting this deal done? And that's when we went to the team that had just as much unfortunate with trades as anybody in the league. And so we're like, let's get Scott involved in this. He'll make something happen. He's a nice guy. And so, we got Scott involved, and we made one of the few 3-team trades in league history. If you don't remember the trade, it must not have been like that great for anybody. But a 3-team trade nonetheless. So yeah, we roped Scott in to make things work on the financial side.
Boy, speaking of bringing things back, needs more 3-way trades in this league. Discussing it earlier, gave away Sam Bradford, which I don't. It doesn't even matter what I got. Just trading away Sam Bradford, I think, is a big win in itself. There's a name I didn't need to be reminded of, but yeah, I got two draft picks for Sam Bradford, and I take that any day. I think I was kind of the third person in that trade between Brendan and Johnny. They were the main culprits in it, but yeah, I'll take draft picks for Sam Bradford.
In that first year, you traded Russell Wilson away to Johnny for the first overall pick. And years later, Russ would go on to hoist the championship. Do you ever look back on that?
Absolutely. I've definitely made many horrible trades in my lifetime. Very bad trades. At fault, it's me at the core. But I think that definitely, I feel like at the time, it really hurt a lot, especially for the first 8 seasons of the league. But I remember that I got the first overall, and then I moved down to second overall with Scott. So he had the first overall instead. And I think he traded that away to Ryan, and that led up to being Todd Gurley, which if I had Todd Gurley at that point, I would have had him for 1 good year or 2 good years. I don't know. But I drafted the second overall Amari Cooper, and he was on my team for a long time. Wasn't really getting me any championships at all. Wasn't a huge X factor on my team, but I traded Amari Cooper away to Scott, which was involved in that 3 first-round picks that he gave me.
You and Johnny have made some interesting trades early on in the league, trading for a lot of deep in the future picks. One of those being you trading away Vincent Jackson for a second rounder, but also including a 2047 second round pick swap. And also another one, during the draft, you traded the 30th overall pick and a hug, important part of the trade, for a 2039 first rounder. What do you have your eyes set on for the 2039 draft there, you think?
All right, let me tell you one thing. Mike Pick in a box. Here's the difference between me and everybody else in this league. When I make a trade, I think about the long-term time horizon. I'm making that long-term investment, baby. I'm going to cash in 2049. I'm going to cash in 2052. I don't care what year it is. I'll still be kicking. And when that time comes, and I have 5 second-round picks and the whole entire first round to myself, who's going to be laughing then?
I don't know if you're aware, but you're the only GM out of 9 other GMs that didn't make a trade with Johnny in that first year. Do you have a reason for that?
So in the first year, I didn't. Some of my best trades have been with Johnny. My most memorable ones, but in my first year, I don't know. I guess I don't know what happened, if he didn't like anything on my team, or I just rejected things. But that is interesting that I didn't make any trades with him.
Within 1 year, to start off the 2015 season, Johnny had traded his entire team. He had no players on his 2015 opening day roster that were on his 2014 opening day roster.
I could not imagine that. I'm happy to make one trade a year, let alone 43. That's incredible. What stamina and a tip of the cap.
You know, I think those numbers that Johnny put up, can't imagine that team was ever the same during 1 week, it sounds like. So I just can't believe that he really was able to pull so many off, and I don't think that will ever be beat, if I'm being honest.
I really like Johnny's creativity and in his trades. And like I say, like players that have swapped between he and I don't think other people would have had the guts to do it. But I really appreciate that Johnny was able to come up with things have happened. So
I think what was really fun too is me and Johnny both liked a lot of the same players. I'm pretty sure if you go back, I think Johnny and I traded Carlos Hyde between each other like maybe 5 times. I'm happy I got him in the end, but yeah, it was a lot of players that we both liked. A lot of them didn't work out for me, but at the end of the day, I always felt like, oh man, I just made a huge trade. I really upgraded my team. Maybe not the case, but it felt like it at least.
I think improving your team that quick through trades is so tough. It's like you're Dr. Frankenstein and you're pretty much putting together different pieces of body parts and creating this monster. So I feel like Johnny's team is Frankenstein's monster in a way.
I definitely miss a lot of that time. It was so crazy. I know some of it can't be recreated because, you know, I can't go back to Mrs. LaFour's class and swap notes about what trade we're going to make. I don't remember a lot of the trades from there. I do remember one trade that I was very adamant that Johnny had to add the Cardinals defense. It was very interesting. And they were a good defense. I think I made the right call there.
I definitely say he was the fire of the league because pure determination to get these trades done, the drive to improve his team in any way possible.
He was truly the engine of, you know, moving players around the league, which I think is important, you know, for people to always be open for trades and involving everybody in, you know, different trade discussion, different pieces if he wants to move around just little picks or make huge deals like he did with Patrick.
Yeah, he made the league really exciting those first couple of years. I probably made like 20 trades with him, it feels like.
The Gotham City Batmans wouldn't be the Gotham City Batmans without Johnny Watson.